Oh, and then we're also going to give, there we go, Zulma Gonzalez. I'll give you the con. This mic is all yours.
Wow. Well. A thankful Thursday to each and every only one of us. Hi, everyone. Hi, only one. It is a good day, as every day is a good day. I cannot do anything with this lighting, so I may just, oh, all right, there you go. That's better. Um, yeah. So it's, I'm still picking myself up and turning myself around. It's kind of like the hokey pokey. I'm kind of like doing the hokey pokey. I am I am hokey pokeying around, figuring out what's going on. I have been kind of going in circles. I I was suppose you all are pretty much tired of hearing me talk about someone making transition, but on Monday evening, I got the phone call on Tuesday. A niece of mine was found at home. She from a parent, her remains from an apparent heart attack. She's a month. She was a month older than me. She was the first of my nieces that I had ever talked with. You know the story. My mother had one child. My father had 17. Um, we didn't, and I was raised an only child, but I had, sought out and gotten to know most of my sisters and my brothers, and there were two brothers. Um, there's one sister left, one brother left, and this niece is from my uh, the only living sister. Uh, yeah. So anyway, so that's that. Um, this I'm kind of getting tired of reporting it. I was talking to her sister, who was just telling me that she had 45% of her uh, kidney removed with cancer. Anyway, such is life. But we're not bodies. I am not a body. My niece it was not a body. My other niece, my family, people, we are not bodies. We possess these bodies. They belong to us. We take care of them for as long as we're supposed to. But the course reminds us, of course, that nothing survives its purpose. So when its purpose has been served, we lay it down. As Reverend Sheila Pierce we used to say, we shuffle off the mortal coil. We just shuffle off the mortal coil. And with that, that's all I've got on that. Not much more on that. Let me go to the let me share screen. See if I can get this right. Let me see. Share screen number 2. There we go. I think I got it. There we go. So today, Thursday, July 18th, we are looking at A Course in Miracles meets The Science of Mind, and I'm stuck in here, and other metaphysical teachings. And I decided to do that last week. Jack Roddy was here, and I was kind of surprised to hear him say, but I'm glad he did, that he referred to the Course as being metaphysical and was um, questioning whether or not the other teachings that we discuss are metaphysical as well. And I said quite simply that they're all metaphysical because we're talking beyond the physical. Good morning, Regis, and welcome. Welcome, Sharon. Welcome, Lynn. Welcome, Dove. Here in the room with me. I don't know who's on Pal Talk. I don't have Pal Talk on. I listened to Pal Talk almost all day yesterday, off and on. I had it on all day and just listened and enjoyed. Anyhow, um, so yeah, so we're talking about metaphysical teachings. We're talking about beyond the body. We're talking about beyond what we can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, ultimately. That's what's real. That's what's eternal. And to remind us, as always, that the kingdom of heaven is within you, and whoever shall know himself shall find it. And that is an Egyptian proverb. You may have heard it elsewhere before, but it was an Egyptian proverb. And as we know, the information from the teachings from Egypt, from Kemet, all preceded uh, many of the teachings with which we are familiar. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The Course says that the kingdom of heaven is you. We are reminded that the kingdom of God is within. The kingdom of God is us. We are it. It is us. Just a reminder, just a constant reminder, and a good one at that. And of course, we remember to mind our mind. Basically, it's mind your business. Mind is your business. It's mine, not my business. What your mind is your business. What your thoughts are yours. My thoughts are mine. And and they only meet when we choose to give the other value. But we're asked to mind our mind. We're reminded from our Dr. Ernest Holmes that to learn how to think is to learn how to live. When we're thinking clearly, when we're thinking as comfortably as we so desire, we're able to live as comfortably as we so desire. To learn how to think is to learn how to live. The Course teaches us that this is a course in mind training. And I can't say that enough. This is a course in mind training. It's not a course in teaching somebody how to do something the way we think they should. Um, it's for us. It is strictly for me. This is a course in teaching me how to train my mind. All learning involves attention and study at some level. And it's one thing to sit around and just study, because there are those who do that. They sit around all day long and just study. And now, how much practice is involved in actually putting that, putting the study into practice? That's another question. Some people do. They sit around, day in and day out, going from, they read all day long, all day, every day. And when it comes to, and then when somebody, says something to them, ask them how they're doing, they're snapping at them, or uh, they are seeing them as different and othering them and things like that. But so studying is one thing. But mind training is something else. When I'm training my mind, I am teaching myself how to see things differently, how to uh, how to view things differently, how to respond differently. The Course teaches us that what we do comes from what we think, and reminds us that we're not asked to change our behavior, but we are asked to change our thoughts, and we can't do that unless we train the mind. Train the mind. We're talking about creating habits here. All learning involves attention and study at some level, because an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. Nothing. I can, go from A, I can sit and, read the alphabet, A to Z, but to memorize that, it takes time. It takes study. Hello, Gloria. Good to see you, my love. Um, it takes time. It takes practice. It takes study. It takes practice. Training the mind takes practice. It takes practice. It's not enough to just sit around and read. We have to put into practice these things that we're studying, make it our life, make it embody it, to become one with it, to train our minds to accomplish something. And because an untrained mind accomplishes nothing. Dr. Ernest reminds us that thoughts and things are but two ends of the same proposition. And it's not just Dr. Ernest who says that. Of course, um, Joe Goldsmith, who I am just enjoying more and more and more. Gloria, I have to thank you for bringing him back to me, because, as I mentioned before, I did read Practicing the Presence twice, actually, when I earned to earn my license. I read it the first time, and then took a course um, called Courting the Presence, and that was the book that we used for that. But thank you again. I am so 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 enjoying, I am absorbing, I'm woo, loving the works of Joel S. Goldsmith. Thoughts and things are but two ends of the same proposition. Because we make this world, we make it up, we make it, we make it. So the things are what we made. And the Course reminds us that God is in everything and everyone and everywhere. And it says all that. God is in everything. Thoughts and things are but two ends of the same proposition. And since it's impossible to stop thinking, we can't stop creating. Our choice is whether we shall create constructively or make destructively. And what we create constructively is eternal, and what we make destructively is temporary. Thank God that it's temporary. Dr. William Walker Atkinson, who has he has a pseudonym, a couple of them. He writes under two other names, but anyway, he says that the mental pattern must always precede the material form. The thought always comes first. And the Course reminds us with that all thinking produces form at some level. To learn how to think is to learn how to live. We have to train our minds because an untrained mind accomplishes nothing. Remembering that thoughts and things are but two ends of the same. They are one and the same. Cause and effect are one. The Course teaches, and Dr. Holmes teaches as well. Cause and effect are one. You can't have one without the other. You can't have an effect without a cause. And once there's a cause, an effect has to manifest as a result. The mental pattern always precedes the material form. The thought always comes first. All thinking produces form at some level. Before I go into, I thought this was good. Before I go into what bits and pieces I have, and I'm trusting that it looks like I may have to end up reading from a book because I don't have many slides today. But last week we had some questions on the board. There were 3 questions asked, and one of them was, how do I come out of the dark? And Karen Parente, my Karen, wasn't here last week, but she listened and appreciated everything. She said that you all refer to you all as champions. Um, it was fantastic last week, and I thank you all for being here and helping me answer the questions that were asked of me to share in this room. So the question, how do I come out of the dark? It caught her attention, and here's what Karen wrote. She says, the darkness for me is dark thoughts. I can relate to that because I experienced major depression in my life more than once. The way to get out of them is to stop believing them. And of course, in the middle of the word believing, she has the L-I-E, the capital L-I-E. Our beliefs are lies. These are things that we're making up as we go along. And I don't know who it is that wrote, don't believe everything you think. I love that. Don't believe everything you think. There's a 50% chance that it's not right. 50%. And it's going to change. And if it's going to change, it means it's not eternal. It's not permanent. It's not real in that regard. It's not. So Karen says the way to get out of them is to stop believing them. And the way out of them is to stop focusing on them and recognizing that I am making them. We are making these stories with this, with a camera with no film, and an illusional camera with no film. We're making these movies and making movies and making movies, and there's nothing there. It's absolutely nothing there. We're making the whole thing up. Karen says, recognize the power of the mind to choose is not just for course students, it's for all. Recognizing the power of the mind to choose, that's what he's recognizing. Recognizing the power of the mind to choose is not just for course students, It's for all. We have all been given this. We have all been given the gift of choice. We have all been given this as part of our inheritance. Dr. Holmes talks about um, that man's greatest discovery was that he has choice. It's not somebody wrote it, we have to follow it, that this is the truth, you have to do that. Um, I get taken by how in the um, fundamental Christianity talks about that you have free will, but you have to do it this way or you're going to hell. If you don't do it this way, you're going to hell. Well, where's the free will in that? I mean, that's my choice? Either, either do what's written or go to hell. Where's the free will in that? Um, that's so anyway, so that whole thing. So anyway, Karen, she continues that this not that the power of the mind to choose is not just for course students, it's for all. We can change our mind from darkness to light when we are ready and willing to get out of the darkness. She says, as Marianne Williamson says, we're not afraid of the darkness, we're afraid of the light. I would also ask, oh, she's saying to ask, what are they afraid of? And why are they choosing to stay in the darkness? That's a good point. Good question, Karen. Now, I did pass this on to the individual who asked the question. She had an opportunity to read this, because this was a text message that Karen sent me, and this came right from my phone. So thank you for that, Karen. And then Karen goes on to start quoting Marianne Williamson from her book, A Return to Love. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And the reason why it's the light, not the darkness, is because darkness isn't real. It's not there. It's not there. Darkness is simply the absence of light, the appearance of the absence of light. In truth, there's only light. So I decided to continue the uh, with what Marianne Williamson wrote. She says, we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? And the question is asked, actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. That's a really, really good point, because who or what I am, or who I think I am, has nothing to do with who you think you are. And what I am does have something to do with what you are. However, one of us or both of us may not be recognizing that what we are part of God. We are spirit in a state of grace forever. And that's our only reality. But I'm thinking in this body that I have to play small. Oh, I don't want to, uh, so and so was telling me about their accomplishment, and I'm just not going to say anything about my accomplishment because I don't want to make them feel like I'm trying to outdo them, or brag about something that I've done, or whatever, that whole thing. But it doesn't take away from what that other person has expressed. Your accomplishment is your accomplishment, regardless of what it is. If it's recognizing today that you are spirit, and then I say, oh well, I recognized it yesterday. Even if that's true, even if that's true, it doesn't take away from the fact that you have recognized it today. It doesn't take anything away from that. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel secure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. Uh, uh, Regis says, let go of the story and allow the glory. Let your light shine, is what we're taught. Let your light shine. We are the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth. We are the light of the world. We were born to shine. There's not a single tree, regardless of what kind of tree it is, that will decide, oh well, that other tree over there isn't going to grow as tall as me, so I'm not going to grow any taller because I don't want to make that tree feel bad. Again, that's shrinking. We're not designed for that. We're not designed for that. We are all meant to shine. We all have our own gifts. We all have our own unique style, our unique way of being. Dr. Ernest refers to it as individualized expressions. We are all individualized expressions of God, and we are all here to express God, to express the glory of God that is within us. We were born to make manifest, Marianne says. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. She continues, it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. If I am paying attention to my stuff and not trying to control yours, then you're free to do and be who you are, to express your best self as best you can. And it's not my place. It's not my place to mind your business because I'm too busy minding mine. Oh, I can enjoy your business when you share it with me, but to attempt to try to dim your light because I want my light to shine brighter, which is really not possible, because my light is only going to shine as my light can. Your light is going to shine as it can. I cannot dim your light. Only you can dim your light or act as though you are dimming your light, perceiving yourself as less than worthy, perceiving yourself as not being one with God, perceiving yourself as being unworthy. It's that's the problem. That sense of lack, of that sense of separation from God. That's the problem. That's the only way you can dim your light, is by not remembering what you are. Every response we make, the Course teaches, is determined by what we think we are. And what we want to be must determine every response we make. She goes on, as we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. When I recognize that I am free from fear, that when I recognize that I've been making this, illusory movie, when I recognize that in myself, I'm able to recognize it in you and able to, there's no place for me to judge you, to look at you as unworthy, to look at you as less than, to look at you as someone whose light I have to dim in order to brighten my own light. No, no, no. As I am liberated from my own fear, the fear that I'm not enough, the fear that I'm not worthy, the fear that my light can't shine, the fear that I don't have a light. But as I'm liberated from my own fear, these things that I'm making up, this false evidence appearing real. I heard someone else say false evaluations affecting reality, FEAR, false evaluation affecting reality. My friend Kim Williams came up with that one. As we're liberated from our own fears, I'm liberated from my own false evaluations affecting reality. Our presence, my presence, our presence automatically liberates others. Yeah, that's from Our Deepest Fear poem, and it's you can find that anywhere on the internet. Of course, that's Marianne Williamson's uh words. That it's referred to as a poem now. But it's from her book, A Return to Love. Well, all right. That was from that was initiated from Karen Parente and delivered to the individual who asked the question. And thank you for that, Karen. All right. So I want to repeat something that came up last week. I appreciate Jack Roddy's questions about reality and how what the course refers to as reality, supposedly versus what um, religious science, science of mind, or the infinite way, or other metaphysical teachings refer to as reality. But because they're all metaphysical. Let's be clear. Because they're all metaphysical, they are all making it clear that the things that we can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch are tangible, are temporary, and are not real. They all say that. So from the glossary in the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes defines reality as the truth about anything. Now, we could put a capital T there. We're talking about that truth. Reality actually means that which is indestructible. So surely he's not talking about the body. Surely he's not talking about the money in our pockets. Surely he's not talking about our material possessions. We're not talking about the things that we can see here. Well, surely we're not talking about the people that we see. We're not, no. The things we hear, the things we touch, taste. We're not talking about our food. It's indestructible. Reality is indestructible. That is only referring to, as the Course says, spirit. That is in this, that our reality is only spirit. That's indestructible. That is what can't be threatened. That's what's real. Reality is unchanging and everlasting, Dr. Ernest continues. He says that the self we see is what man has thought about himself, the form he has molded by his thought. I repeat, the Course says that all thinking produces form at some level. This body, we came up with this through a thought system that perceived itself as being, well, that perceived, period, that saw itself as separate from God, and separate from therefore separate from each other, because you are God in form, I am God in form, and to perceive myself as separate from you is actually stating that I perceive myself as separate from God. In the Bible is written, how can you say you love God and don't love your brother? How? It's written that Jesus said that my brothers and my sisters and my mother, are those who just do the will of God, who are aligned with the Father, that recognizing the oneness. I and the Father are one. Recognizing that oneness. Dr. Ernest continues that the real self, and there's a capital R, capital S, is perfection, capital P. And perfection, by the way, is wholeness. Of course, calls holy. It says that holiness is a sign of wholeness. The real self is perfection. The real self is whole. The real self is holy. The real self is complete. For God could not know anything unlike himself. Our sonship is reality. Christ abiding in us. And we're talking about the Christ consciousness. We're not talking about Jesus. We're talking about Christ, the sense of the knowing of salvation in truth, that which saves, that which keeps us in the place of truth. That Christ consciousness is that consciousness of oneness, Christ abiding in us, recognizing that I am you and you are me, not the body, but in truth, capital T, truth. The kingdom of God within, Dr. Holmes writes, is reality. And he goes on to say that reality, as concerning man, is that God in man, as man, is man. I am part of God, the Course teaches. God is part of me. Period. Period. God is in everything. God is in everything. I see, because God is in my mind. God is in everything, in everyone and everywhere. God is. God is. And therefore we are, because we are what God is. Along that line, Dr. Ernest continues. He says, he wrote that Jesus said, judge not according to appearances. And this is under the definition in the glossary of illusion. He says, even the physical universe is not what it seems to be. And of course, we know, as Course students, we recognize that. As a matter of fact, neither the physical nor the subjective universe are things of themselves. And there it's clear that Ernest Holmes is not, or none of the other metaphysicians are saying that what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch has any permanence, is not real. We're clear that it is not eternal. They are not things in themselves. As Plotinus said, nature is the great no thing, yet it is not exactly nothing. Since its business, from a nature, is to receive the forms of thought which the spirit lets fall into it. Again, the Course teaches all thinking produces thought at some level. All thinking produces thought. Its business, nature's business, is to receive the forms of thought which the spirit lets fall into it. The illusion is never in the thing, but in the way we look at it. What are we saying? I'm never upset for the reason I think. Why? Because it's what I'm thinking that's the problem, not what I'm perceiving out there. It's not the computer screen. It's not that I'm doing all the talking. It's not that. It's my thoughts about it. I'm asking myself, oh, am I going to have enough material to cover until, I'm trying till it's time to stop? And is someone going to join me? These are just my thoughts, and possibly upsetting thoughts. Possibly upsetting thoughts. We'll see. I am holding on to the truth, knowing that it's all good, and it's all God. It's all good, and it is all God. The illusion is never in the thing, because see, all that future thinking. I think I have a slide that says something about that. Thinking about the future, well, the Course tells us, thinking about the future and thinking about the past is not really thinking at all, because there is no future. There's only now. There is no past. There's only now. So attempting to be in places that aren't is indeed not being in the real place. I'm not in the real place if I'm thinking about the future or thinking about the past. God is here. God is now. There's only one life, Dr. Ernest teaches. There's only one life, and that life is God's life. That life is perfect. As I said, perfect meaning complete. And that life is my life. Now, right now, and only now. The illusion is never, ever, ever in the thing, but in the way we look at it. Emmett Fox, I love this, wrote that each day is a new life. I like that. I'm going to pause right there. Each day is a new life. Um, what's her name? Mary. Oh, the motivational speaker. Okay, so her name escapes me. It'll come. It'll show up. Um, Morrissey. Mary Morrissey. Could see her. Uh, Mary Morrissey refers to um each day as a new baby day. It's a new baby day. It's a new baby day. And someone else wrote, yesterday ended at rather yesterday ended at midnight. We keep focusing on what's back there. There is no back there. We're focusing on what isn't. Each day is a new day. There's something in the chat. I have to see if I can get to the chat. This is going on, and I'm nope. I can't even see the chat right now. I can't see the chat, family. I can't see it. I would have to drop screen to do that, and I don't want to do that. I'll confuse myself. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. Chat. Let's see what's happening here. Let's see what's happening here. In the chat. Um, Glorian wrote. Oh, well, Lynn wrote. We're talking actually coming from the teachings before this, with Lori and Sharon and Dove and Lynn. There was a question about choice. She said it's all from my point of view. This is what Lynn wrote. It's all from my point of view. Cannot be real as long as we are seeing differences, which is what I'm saying. I wasn't here when that was said, but it's the same thing. We're always when we're speaking in truth, we're speaking the same thing. It's just the words sound a little different, because everything is coming out of our through our own individual expression, but it's all the same. And Glorian wrote that Richard Bueke, Bueke, in his book Cosmic Consciousness, he presents three forms of consciousness. One is simple consciousness, that of high level of the animal kingdom, being aware. Two, he describes as self-consciousness, which is the ego thinking about thinking. The ego thinking about thinking. Yeah, yeah, I like that. And three, cosmic consciousness, which is spiritual consciousness. And this one we receive in the silence. We make the choice and rest in the silence and receive the still small voice. And then Glorian reminds us, in today's lesson, there is no peace except the peace of God. We're told, now is there silence. Seek no further. I was in a study group last night, attended for the first time, a gentleman named James Blanchard Cisneros, Cisneros. He wrote a book called You Have Chosen to Remember. Let's see if I can put it in the screen. You Have Chosen to Remember. It is a journey from perception to knowledge, peace of mind, and joy, by James Blanchard Cisneros. And it was my first time attending his Course in Miracles study group yesterday evening. And it was workbook lesson 200 that we read. And absolutely, now is there silence. We hear about, Dr. Ernest and Joel and Neville Goddard and a lot of the others. They'll talk about meditation and the importance of it. And the word meditation per se is not what we're, meditating is not per se, that's not the words used when we're reviewing our lessons, when we're studying our lessons. But we are asked to contemplate on them. We are asked to go into the silence, because the truth of what we are is not to be found out there in the externals. And that's where all the chatter is going on. Oh, all the, the monkey mind, and the what we call the race consciousness, and all that out there. We need to stop. I wear a bracelet. Be still and know. We need to stop and give ourselves opportunities to recognize the truth, to be able to embody the truth of what we are. And we can only do that. I can only do that when I give myself opportunities to just be still, to gather and collect myself, to remember, as we're reminded in review 1, that peace is wherever I am, that I am that peace. I am that peace, because God is part, I am part of what God is, always. And God is that peace. Holding on to that, knowing that, remembering that. Thank you for that, Glorian. Seek no further. Absolutely. Absolutely. So each day is a new day. Each moment is really a new life. What we call memories are really present thoughts. Now, and that's simply because we're thinking now. We're only thinking now. It's all only ever happening now, this moment. The only aspect of time that has any real meaning is now. The closest we can come to eternity, I think I have that that quote from the Course, is now. So what we call memories are really present thoughts. We're thinking about a period of time that no longer is now. What we call anticipations, Emmett Fox continues, what we call anticipations are really present thoughts. The Course teaches, look at what you're afraid of. Only the anticipation will frighten you. I'll never forget the first time I read that. It stopped me cold. What? Wow. It wowed me. Look at what you're afraid of. Only the anticipation will frighten you, which is saying, again, it's never the thing, it's what I think about the thing. I'm never upset for the reason I think, ever. I am never upset because something out there is happening. I'm never upset because of something somebody said. I'm never upset because of what somebody did. I'm never upset because of what I saw on television. I'm never upset because of something I heard. I'm upset because of what I think about any of that. My upset always comes from my thoughts. My feelings come from my thoughts. All thoughts produce form at some level. All thoughts, all thinking produces form at some level. And what I'm thinking is creating the feeling that I'm having. And then based on what I'm feeling determines, and of course the conviction that goes with it, determines what I'm doing. And if I'm acting out of hmm, uh, uh, wrong thinking, painful thinking, backwards thinking, then everything I do as a result of that is going to be that. Ever snapped at somebody? You snapped at somebody because you thought they said this, but what they really said was that, and you're like, oops, you had to back up. We react. We reacted to something that absolutely wasn't the way we saw it or heard it. Absolutely wasn't. And we reacted to it as though it was. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. So glad I'm not the only one. But yeah, and so it is. It's always our thoughts. Always, 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 always our thoughts. And Gloria, I see your hand. Hi, love.
Hi, Zulma. Thanks for this conversation. And that's what we do in the dream. We are thinking about something that is not there. So that's why if we make that choice to see it differently and rest in the silence, then spirit can represent to us what is really there. That's what it's a habit of getting into that place of, like Lynn was saying, no choice. There's no choice. We're relinquishing our judgment, the projections we place on the world, which is forgiveness. And the only escape from it is that quiet answer, the silent mind. And I agree with what you said. And every single one of the workbook lessons, we're being asked to repeat or be still, or which is contemplative meditation. So, at first, when we read the course, we read it where our consciousness is at. And as we continue to go on, it's like the living word. And, we're always seeing our own consciousness. And these are the things that then jump out at us. But really, the escape that we have here from hell is in that quiet answer, in the silent mind. Thanks.
Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to take time to be still. I mean, even Stephen Covey in his book, um, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits is sharpen the saw. You have to sharpen the saw. If you are sawing away at that tree and you're just sawing away and sawing away and sawing away, that saw is getting dull along the way. And if you don't take time to sharpen the saw, then you find yourself working harder and harder and harder, because you're not giving the saw a chance to renew, to refine itself, to be refined so that it can continue to do its best work. Likewise, with us, if we don't take the time to stop, I mean, like sleep, we need sleep. Let's use music. Let's use a tangible example. We need sleep. You can go on for so long, and eventually you're going to get dizzy, and your thoughts are going to, you're going to get muddled, and eventually you're just going to fall out. You're just going to fall out. It's necessary. It's necessary. But just as it's necessary to slow the body down, to stop the body, to just get that physical rest, we have to do the same with our minds. We have to, because the one thing is that the mind never stops. It never stops. It never stops. And even when we go into the silence, we go into that meditation, we're able to slow it down to the point where we may feel like it stops, but it never stops. Even in the middle, in the midst of, you can be in the midst of meditation. Oh, you can be so right there, so right there, so right there. And all of a sudden, what am I going to cook for dinner? Oh, did I take anything? Did I take something at the freezer? Okay, wait. Okay, come back. Even it's what we do. It's what we do. It's just what we do. The mind never stops. It never actually rests. We can give it pause. We can quiet it down, slow it down, but it never stops. It can't. It can't. Because the mind, M-I-N-D, the small m, is coming from the capital M mind, and that mind is eternal. And that mind is always creating. It's ever creating. It's ever creating. Regis, I see your Marianne shirt. I see it. I can't see what it says above that, but I see it says Marianne. I'm looking. I see Marianne. Anyway, um, see, we even advertise. It's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for that. Um, but yeah, it's important to just take time to slow it down. And the last sentence from Emmett Fox is, no one has ever lived in any moment except the present. We can only be here now. We want to think, I can't let go of the past. You already have, you're not there. The belief that you're there is the problem. The belief that you're in a place that's not, that's illusory. The belief that you're there is actually the problem. I'm going to read this by Emmett Fox again. I'm going to read it too because I think it's beautiful. Each day is a new life. each moment is really a new life. Each moment. Now he's gone from day to moment, because every breath, with every breath, with every new thought, I have a choice with we're constantly, decisions are continuous, the course tells us. It's continuous. It's continuous. It never stops. Each moment is really a new life. And Glorian writes, it never stops, because spirit, that is God, is the activating agent of small m mind / capital M mind. That's exactly it. God is eternal life without beginning or end. There is no separation. There is no separation. There is no separation. And even though I say, the new day started at midnight and all that, there's still no separation. It's one moment to the next. And decisions are continuous. We always are at choice. We always have a choice to know that we are here now. I can consider that in this moment, I really am right here. And whatever happened yesterday, day before, last week, last month, 50 years ago, 67 years ago, it doesn't matter. Now is the only aspect of time that has any real meaning, because now is all there is. So let me read this through. I'm trying to get through this. Each day is a new life. Each moment is really a new life. What we call memories are really present thoughts. What we call anticipations are really present thoughts. No one has ever lived in any moment except the present. That just makes so much sense. That's simple to me. That to me is simple. Today is simple. Once upon a time, that wouldn't have been. What do you mean? What do you mean? That wouldn't have made sense to me. In chapter 13, section 4, the function of time. I don't have my book right in front of me, so but in chapter 13, section 4, the function of time, it reminds us that with the ego thought system, that way of thinking is only attempting to, it has no concept that now means nothing to the ego, that it only remembers past hurts, that it's bringing the past into the present and is using the present as a way to take it to the future. And it has that there's no intervening present from the ego thought system. There's either a past or future, and that's that. And it goes on to tell us that now has no meaning to the ego, that it reminds us of past hurts. It tells us also that those shadowy figures from the past are precisely what we must escape. They are not real. And unless we realize that past pain is an illusion, then we're just bringing a whole series of illusions. And not giving ourselves an opportunity to recognize the present. And we're asked in the course to let go of the past, let go of the past from the present, to detach the past from the present, and just go from now and move forward. And I don't mean in worry and in anticipation and all that. No. Just know that this moment is all there is. And I can only take one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. I don't know when I'm driving, I can't see beyond what's at that, the next stoplight. I can't see beyond that. But when I get there, then I'll see. But I'm not to worry about, oh my God, there's nothing there. I can't see past that light. It's not for me to see. What's the song? Que será. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que será. What will be, will be. It's just that. This is it, right here, right now, right here, and right now. And Glorian wrote, God is everything and everywhere now, right now, and only now, and only now. That's all it can be. No one has ever lived in any moment except the present. Oh, I've driven that one pretty hard, haven't I? All right, let me go to the next slide. Let's see what else is going on. from the Course. The only aspect of time that is eternal is now. Now. Everything, all that other stuff, the Course talks about, time having been rolled up, like rolled up into a carpet. It's gone. It's not there anymore. So let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. It is in the reality of now, the Course. It is in the reality of now, without past or future, that the beginning of the appreciation of eternity lies. For only now is here. There we go. That's all we've been saying. Now is here. Now is now. There is no yesterday. There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll call it now. And when it was yesterday, when we were there, we called it now. That's finished now. On to something new. The Course teaches that nothing survives its purpose. That includes so-called time. Yesterday served yesterday. My niece's remains were found on Monday. And I was trying to, as I was getting ready to tell you all that, I had to remember now. What was that? Because that time that has come and gone, it was all just one continuous moment. I had to remember, oh yeah, I got the phone call on Tuesday, it was Monday. But in truth, the same way we chop up days into 24 hours and all that, it's the same way they chop up cities and states. If you're in an airplane looking down, you can't say, oh, that's this state, this is Pennsylvania, and that's New Jersey. Oh, there's Delaware over there. I can tell that that's Delaware because there's a dividing line. No, there may be a body of water. That's the way man decided to call one state or another, but that's not necessarily true either. I was driving in my car the other day from going into New Jersey, coming back, and I was on I had just crossed the toll, and it said on my car, "Welcome to Pennsylvania." I was coming out of Jersey. Welcome to Pennsylvania. There was nothing that looked any different from where the wheels were the second prior to that to know that I was in New Jersey and now I'm in Pennsylvania. Nothing. There was nothing different. So we have gotten so, with the ego thought system, we have gotten into comparing this to that and dividing things up. The ego is specific. Everything is specific with the ego. And that specificity creates problems because now I want to say, well, I heard what you said, but you shouldn't have said, here we go. You shouldn't have said that way. What you should have done was inserted this word instead of that one. What are we doing here? Just creating, just trying to make mountains out of molehills, trying to make molehills out of pimples. I mean, trying to make pimples out of dust. There's nothing but now. It is in the reality of now, without past or future, that the beginning of the appreciation of eternity lies. For only now is here, and only now presents the opportunities for the holy, that is, complete encounters in which salvation can be found. And this thing about salvation being found, we're already saved. All we're doing is finding what we have been overlooking all this time, because we have been making this world of our own and locking ourselves up in it. Lynn, I'm laughing at what you wrote. I'm not going to read it, but all right, team. All right, that's what I'll say to that. And reach. Oh my God, I love you. I love you, family. I do. I love you, family. Y'all keep it real. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And it keep me laughing when I need laughter. Oh my God, you all don't know. So Regis wrote from the Course, you too will interpret the function of time as you interpret yours. If you accept your function in the world of time as one of healing, here we go, you will emphasize only the aspect of time in which healing can occur. Here comes my favorite part of this. Healing cannot be accomplished in the past. It must be accomplished in the present to release the future. I love that. I love that sentence right there. Healing cannot be accomplished in the past. So people go to therapy, and I have clients who have, they talk about how they're listen, I remember I tried to do it. When I went to see Dr. Collins back in the early 90s, I was, it's as if I was trying to go back into time to fix it. And my clients that come attempting to, go back in time. I was told the other day, well, what I am, I'm not gonna, how'd she say it? I'm not gonna blame the whole past, but part of it has to do with, why I am the way I am today. And I repeated it back to her what she said, and then because now that either you're going to quote blame the past or you're not. Either the whole past or what? Yes or no? Is the past or no? And what I said to her, I suggested, I said, I understand that we think that the past is determining what we're doing now. I said, but what's determining what we're doing now is the decision that we're making now. Even now is when you're thinking about a period of time that no longer exists. So it's only now. It's just what Regis just wrote. Healing cannot be accomplished in the past. We can't go back and change it. We can't go back in time. There's no holograms. There's none of that. There's nothing for us to go back. I can't. People talk about holding grudges of something that happened in the past. Show it to me. Can you show me the grudge? Let me see it. You're holding it. Let me see it. And they laugh. I can't. Listen to, we don't realize the power of words. We don't realize, we think that when we're saying something to someone else, that it's powerful and it's important and you should listen. But what we don't realize is that we're hearing it too. When what's coming out of my mouth, sometimes I have to go back and listen to the recording. I seldom do, but every now and then it actually ends up catching me. I go to click something and something else comes up. And because these are lessons for me. I'm hearing what I'm saying, even if I'm not listening to myself. But it's going in there. And my thoughts are being affected at the same time that the words are coming out of my mouth, because I don't, it's just coming, it's just flowing. But I need to listen to what I'm saying. And there are areas that for me to pay more attention for my own learning and for my own growth, or to realize, oh, Zulma, I hear that you're holding on to something. I'm going to bring up an issue. On Sunday, it's not an issue anymore, actually. On Sunday, I had purchased a ticket to go to New York. There was an event in New York. My nephew had asked me to come, and I was kind of, his mom was my sister that passed back in March, and and his aunt, my other sister, that passed in May. And it's an event that they would attend every year, something called Old Timers, music and food and all that, música latina, right? Spanish music and just a grand time. And I had bought a ticket to go to get, take public transportation, take the megabus to go to New York. And a woman who I've always referred to her as an acquaintance, but not a friend. I've always said that, had volunteered to keep Lovable. For those of you who are listening for the first time, Lovable is my baby boy who is right behind me. He's, yeah, I'm talking about you. There he is. Yeah, wait a minute. Can you see? Yeah, there he is. Right there. Anyway, he's always right on hand. Anyhow, oh no, baby boy, not now. Not now. Now he wants attention. Look at this. No, I'm busy. Anyway, So she had volunteered to keep Lovable. And on Sunday, I had sent her a text message at 5:30 in the morning because my bus was to leave at 8:15, and no response. And I texted her again at 6:30 and no response. Then I called a little after 7 and it went straight to voicemail, which meant that her phone was not turned on or it wasn't charged. Um, so as it turned out, I wasn't, so I called my nephew and told him, I says, I'm not going to make that bus. I'm willing to drive up, bring him with me, and I'll leave him at the apartment. And my nephew was like, no, I don't want to leave him alone in the apartment. There's too much stuff there. He met Lovable, but clearly he wasn't real comfortable about the dog. He liked him and all that, but what he didn't see me see, no, what he didn't know is that I watched him kick at Lovable at one point, and all Lovable did was just walk up to him, and he's like, "I don't have any food. Get away from me!" And you know, anyhow. So, short version and short end of the story. I had made a decision that um uh I'm just going to leave that whole thing alone, it and the situation and this woman alone, because this is, you know, what's the expression? Do me once, that's on you. Do me twice, that's on me. Well, there it was, and I guess I always figured that this was going to occur. Well, for a day, for a little over a day, it was bothering me. Oh, how it bothered me. Even though I didn't go to New York, but I ended up going to a birthday party. I didn't take Lovable because I was in Jersey. Went to a birthday party, my godson's mother's birthday, and we had a grand time with her and the family, and then had a good time. And but still, I came home, and you know, the next day I was still thinking about it some on Monday, and I realized, well, wait a minute. You already knew this was bound to happen sooner or later. Um, what are you holding on to this for? What's going on? What are you holding on to this for? What? Why? Why are you hurting you with this? And I started laughing. I really started laughing. Lovable thought I was crazy. He wanted to play at that point. And and I was able to let it go. But again, I was choosing to be upset about something that there was nothing I could do about it. Bus was gone. The $25 from my bus ticket was gone. I couldn't reach it. It was just, you know, a donation to Megabus. I had to look at it that way, a donation to Megabus. And so it was. Um, but if in the old days, in the old days, I would have been questioning that in my head. And how could she? And I could have called her. I would have called and tried to have an argument with her and this and that. I'm like, that serves no purpose. It, I, like I said, I referred to her as an acquaintance, but not a friend. There was obviously a reason for that, and for me today, it's not have to worry about, you know, walking on eggshells when I'm having a conversation with this person. It means not having to um, go go into um, go into my deep into my practices when she's talking about how somebody's always doing something to her, and it was just a bit much. It's I have been freed, but what we do is we get free, but we try to hold on to the very thing that was keeping us from being free. I'm in salvation and trying to hold on to that which was binding me. I don't need to do that. So I'm just using that by way of example. Healing, and I can't go back in time. There's no point, you know. Was she had sent me a text message? I'll call you tomorrow to let you know. And I'm saying, well, what can you tell? What can you tell me tomorrow? About today, it's done. What can you possibly say? Healing cannot be accomplished in the past. Back to the course. It must be accomplished in the present to release the future. This interpretation ties the future to the present and extends the present rather than the past. Exactly. Letting go of what was because it's not there anyway. You're letting go of what's already gone. There's a place in the course that asks, how can you change the past except in fantasy? Regis, would you find that for me? Uh, how past fantasy? That's enough. How past fantasy? Yeah. How can you change the past to accept in fantasy? Accept how can you change the past except in fantasy? Not now, level. Wait a minute. Wait, wait. Not now. Not now. Yeah, so holding on to what was makes absolutely no sense because it's not there. You're holding on to nothing. I believe it's in chapter 16. How can you change the past except in fantasy? Or how accepting the past can you change? Yeah, that's all you need. How past and fantasy. Type those in. It'll come up. Anyway, in the meantime, again, we're letting go of what was for what is. Not now, baby boy. Wait. I can't right now. He wants now. He does. Hey, Karen. Um, letting go of what was, recognizing what is, that now is the only aspect of time that has meaning. It's only now. Healing cannot be accomplished in the past. There it is. Thank you. And it reads thus. How can you change the past except in fantasy? And who can give you what you think the past deprived you of? How can we go back? We can't go back. Oh, well, see, because my father died when I was 10, see, and I was deprived of a relationship with my father because he died. No, it happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. That was supposed to happen just the way it happened. So who can give you what you think the past deprived you of? The past is nothing. Do not seek to lay the blame for deprivation on it, for it is gone. It is you cannot really here it is. You cannot really not let go what has already gone. You cannot really not let go what is already gone. The sanitation department came and took the took the trash, the recycle. They took it already. It's gone. Here I am looking in this can, just looking for that letter that I accidentally threw away. You cannot really not let go of what is already gone. It must be therefore that you are maintaining the illusion, let's remember this illusion, that it has not gone because you think it serves some purpose that you want fulfilled. So trying to tell myself that time is still now. I'm remembering when I first read this, it reminded me of I remember sitting in Dr. Collins's office and telling him about the things that mommy did or didn't do and what she should have done and this, that, and the other, and how I'm trying to figure out how to forgive her. How do I forgive her for this stuff? How do I, and at the same time, I was really trying to go back as if I went back, if she had said she was sorry, for example, if she had just apologized, well, I couldn't go back to that year, that day, that month, whenever it was. And even if, for her to apologize for what happened then, and because I was still holding the grudge, even if she had apologized that very day, it wouldn't have meant anything because oh, well, you're just saying that because I wasn't ready to let go. And back to that sentence. It must be therefore that you are maintaining the illusion that the past, has not gone because you think it serves some purpose that you want fulfilled. And it must also be that this purpose could not be fulfilled in the present, but only in the past. So that's me thinking that basically there's no solution to this. I can't let this go. You're a sinner. You're a sinner. I am right. I am a victim and right. And you are the sinner and wrong because you did this thing and now you can't go back in time to change it. But you're supposed to go back in time and change it because in my mind, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. But it's an illusion. We can't go back. It's gone. How, except in fantasy, can you change the past? And Karen wrote, spiritual bypassing is not being present with what is happening, trying to fight the darkness. Back to that. Allow emotions to be seen without blaming the world. And that is a quote from Keith Kavanaugh. That's it. I love that, Regis. Be happy now. Closure is overrated. Overrated. And that's the truth. Because, I think about, well, what if the person passed away? What if they've already made their transition and they never apologized? What if? Am I supposed to just hold on to that for the rest of? I did that for some years after my stepfather passed. Finally figured it out. Oh, wrote a letter before I even knew that was a way to do that sort of thing. Oh, I was on my word processor. Remember that? Remember those? I was on my word processor typing this letter to this man. And you did this and you did this and with a whole lot of expletives, that were in there. Oh, I was just cussing his behind out in this letter. Oh, and what he did, and then even in the letter, as I was writing, I said, and just because, and I wrote about his past, the pattern that he had been following. But I'm writing, and just because you that didn't give you the right to and you and then I tired myself out. Oh, I was sweating. Oh, I was crying. Oh, I was just all this pain, this anger. And then I went back and read what I wrote. And as I'm reading it, came to that part. Just because your father, your mother, your relationship as when you were a child was that way, you decided that you had to follow in their footsteps. And in that moment, wow, I don't ever remember crying about this. I don't ever remember crying about this. But in that moment, I freed him, so to speak. And in so doing, I freed myself. I realized that man was in a lot of pain. And all he was putting out was pain, physically abusing my mother, me. I used to fight back. That's finally he had to stop, and he had to stop all that. He had to stop all that because I tried to kill him. I tried to kill him. Um, I'm talking police, the whole bit. I was I was feisty. Oh my God. Um, but he was also abusing himself. He was, over drinking. He was doing drugs, and he used to say that there was an MFer out here who could kill him, that he was going to kill himself, and ultimately that's what he did. He went to the hospital one weekend. That's a story. That's another story, another time. But he went to the hospital one weekend, and his body just started shutting down. And he took himself out, basically. He took himself out. But I came to and again, even then I was angry because my mother and I was supposed to be going. We were supposed to be going to Puerto Rico 7 hours later, and he had told us that she told mommy she wasn't going if he had to die. He told mommy that she was not going if he had to die. It was just going to be she and I. It was the first time she had stood up to him that she and he did. Body he gave up the ghost. I was so angry. So angry. Oh my God. And so I was like, Mommy, well, just leave him in the freezer. He'll still be there when we come back. It's only a week. Oh, I mean, it was horrific. It was horrific. My feelings were horrific. And it was causing me so much pain. So it was some years later, again, with that letter, that I was able to release it and let it go. Yes, exactly. The relinquishment of the judgment that I placed on it. I judged it as being, he was wrong for what he did and he shouldn't have this and there goes shoulding again. And it's always should. It's just too much should going on. We need to get rid of the should. Just get rid of the should. Let's see what else I have here. Oh my God, this is a different topic, actually. Neville Goddard In his book, Imagination Creates Reality, um, this is going in a whole different direction. If you would change the world, if you would change your world, you must change your beliefs. Since consciousness is the only cause, which Gloria mentioned earlier, since consciousness is the only cause, you cannot blame others for the conditions which presently exist, nor can fate or chance be the cause of that which you are now experiencing. I just said this is going in a different direction, but it really isn't, is it? Nothing can alter the course of events in your life except a change in your own consciousness. Whatever is appearing in your world now, although it appears real and an unalterable fact, is a reflection of previous activity in your own consciousness. Therefore, a change in consciousness will reflect that change in the future just as surely as past beliefs reflect the present. Man is pure, formless consciousness, and that which he conceives himself to be. Here we go, back to that. What I conceive myself to be, that which I have made, is based on this ego thought system. That which I have made to be is an illusion. What I have made myself to be is an illusion or reflection of the particular ideas he holds true. These illusions exist they exist only so long as man focuses his attention upon them and gives them life. The Course says only your allegiance to the ego gives it power. Our allegiance to the ego gives it power. If I'm going to change my world, I have to change my beliefs. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. There's so many books now with these, change your this, and the old thinking, begin a new life. They're just saying all that. They're saying the same thing in different ways. Consciousness is the only cause. What I'm focusing on, what I'm thinking is real. My thoughts, the way I'm seeing things, the way I'm looking at it. It's just a matter of changing it. Yes, change your beliefs. Yes, Ernest Holmes. Change your thinking, change your life. That's his thing. Change your thinking. That's the catchphrase. Change your thinking, change your life. In the first section on mind your mind. To learn how to think is to learn how to live. To learn how to think is to learn how to live. The Course says we're not asking you to change your behavior, but we are saying you can change your thoughts. And it just so happens as a result of changing the way I think, which then changes the way I feel, that then changes the way I behave, it changes the way I act. It all just goes together that way. It all just goes together. So if you would change your world, you must change your beliefs. If you're saying that this isn't going right, it's not going the way you want it to, stop and stop using yesterday's excuses, because yesterday's already gone anyway, because your decisions are continuous. Decisions are continuous. We can decide today that I'm going to do something different. Since consciousness is the only cause, I can't blame others for the conditions. I can't blame anything. I can't blame chance. I can't blame fate for the cause of what I am experiencing now. I'm doing this. I am making my own choices. And I'm going to send this to someone as soon as we finish here. From workbook lessons 17, Karen wrote, the thought comes first. The thought comes first, despite the temptation to believe it is the other way around. Sure, the thought always comes first. We have, and there are those. I've read some psychologists or somebody who say, hold on, who say that the feeling comes first and then the thought. It happens so fast, you know. It happens so fast. I may feel something, because here's the thing. I believe that it's the thought first, because when I'm feeling some kind of way, whatever that feeling happens to be, I have to stop and ask myself, wait a minute, what am I thinking? And then that's when I see that what I'm feeling is coming from what I'm thinking. It's never that I know of the other way around. I've never asked myself, what am I feeling? I've never asked myself, I've never had a thought and asked myself, well, what am I feeling about that? I have had a thought and asked myself, what do I think about that thought? So what do you think about that, Zulma? I have done that. Paying attention to my thoughts. I think, somebody wrote that in here, to think about what you're thinking about. Think about what you're thinking about. Pay attention to what you're thinking. Are you okay? What's the matter? Pay attention to what I'm thinking about. Think about what I'm thinking about. Yeah. So we are we are formless consciousness. That's what we are. We are formless consciousness. We made this body. And what we conceive ourselves to be is an illusion or a reflection of the particular ideas that I hold true. I am living as I believe. Even if I say I'm not, I am living as I believe. Let's see, there's stuff going on in here. Karen, thank you, dear. I think wonderful things about that. Thank you so much. Karen, you're funny. We When someone insults us, we think less of them. When someone compliments us, not only do we think more of them, we even think more of ourselves because we yeah, funny. We forget that our worth is not established by what somebody says or what somebody does, because it's the same way that they can compliment you today. Karen, I'm using this now. The same way they can compliment you today, they can turn around and say, you know what? I don't know about that, what you're doing today. I don't know about that hair, girl. Those glasses really are, they suck. What you wear with that? What that top, girl? What, the same. And then we feel like, how could they say that to us? We didn't think that when they were complimenting us. We didn't think, how could they say that to us, unless we are so down on ourselves, unless we are so in that illusion, unless we are so, it says we are pureless, we are pure formless consciousness, and that which we conceive ourselves to be is an illusion or reflection of the particular ideas that I hold true. So even if I thought myself to not be this, that, and the other, and then you extend a compliment, then my thought is, oh, well, why are they complimenting me? What are they after? No, I don't even know why they're saying that. That's not true. You know what I mean? But it's our world. What's the expression? It's your world, squirrel. You decide. You get to decide what you want. Do you want to be right? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to live in peace? Do you want joy? Do you want to feel like you have a sense of know your sense of worth? Then at the very least, recognize that you are spirit. I am spirit. That we are spirit. One, only one source, one life, one love, one truth, one being, just one. And that's not complicated. No specificity there. Nothing to pick and choose about. It simply is. It is. And so it is. I am turning over the mic. Lynn, all yours.
Thank you so much, Zelma. So grateful for you. And I just love your sharing. You're thinking, I don't have enough material to keep me for an hour and a half. And oh no, you get the material, it just comes to you. So it's all perfect.